see. Close. Hello, Ultra Blader. So, I'm live again. School just ended for me, so that's cool. Summer's here. And yeah, so I'm just live again. And then I got a new box, actually. If I take my lunchables out, I replaced my old box for the stadium. So now I have this new, kind of more sturdy one. So it's nice to use. And then it has more like space in it and stuff. So yeah, let me pull up another device so I can see that. Okay. Cool. Should probably like move it closer or something. What could I do? I think I could just move this backwards and kind of just twist this to the side, maybe. Okay, that should maybe do it, hopefully. I think that should do it. It's good enough, I think. Cool. Okay. So let's go ahead and do that. And yeah. So any battle requests or any questions or anything like that, just type them and I'll answer them, or I'll do the battle if I can, and just kind of doing whatever here. Let me try something. Let's move this back so there's a room. And just twist like this. Guess that won't work. Okay, so Ultra Blader, are you still the one person watching or no? It's so weird how it does that. Uh, nope, that's not what I wanted to do. That didn't work either. Nope. It's weird with this box in front. What driver is on that combo? Bearing drift. It's a very like basic combo wind Kirbyus on bearing drift. Just trying to see if I can knock it out with a guilty combination. Oh, that's cool, yeah. Metal Beyblades are definitely, I don't collect them, but they definitely seem like they're more balanced in general than Burst, and a lot of older players have them, so that's nice. Yeah. And then, yeah, I would. So I don't have Hyperion, but the thing is, right, the idea is that Kerbeus helps with burst resistance because with something like Hyperion or Perseus, see, okay, so let's say I launch it, right? It's very stable, very balanced, stays in the center, right? Now, that's because Kerbeus in the center is nothing but plastic and rubber. So on a driver like bearing drift, you want stability. Maybe if you give up a couple grams of weight, like 2 grams of weight using Kerbeus instead of Perseus, Hyperion, or Lucifer, that might be worth it because if I put Perseus, that is true. Kerbeus wears down, but that's why I don't use my Kerbeus on a lot of combinations. I barely use my Kerbeus core. I only use it for testing. What are your views on Gen X? So the first thing is the stadium's very gimmicky. It's not very like skill based, I feel like. It's definitely more it's fun for sure, as Beyblade should be. It's like this stadium, this quad drive thing. It's got these little like ramps and it's not really like skill based. Whereas the BB10 here is like very basic, very skill based. So yeah, like Slingshot 2.0 essentially. So it's not very skill based. It's more of it's a gimmicky stadium, and also the heights on the bays are going to be interesting. But I just feel like it's more gimmicky than actually skill based. Is my view. But yeah, I'm definitely interested how they'll see the add-on now. As I was saying, Perseus, right? If I launch Perseus here, it's a lot. It may not seem like much, but that little rattling is very see, it stays in the center, but also my Perseus is like worn down. But this is a balance tune. Generally, with Perseus, at least like for me, hello Peach the King or hello Plink Plink. Yeah, so generally Perseus for me is not the best core. Just on bearing drift, just 'cause it's off balance. Oh, maybe maybe don't. I mean, if you want to watch this at school, that's cool. But it's your choice. Oh yeah, Wind Kirbyus is yeah. Yeah, that's how I got this. I got this exact thing, Wind Kirbyus, Xanthus Bounce. I believe it was 9. Because I wanted the Wind Blade and I wanted the Moment Driver. So I got Dynamite Kirbyus Legacy Moment. And yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, so Wind Kirbyus is a nice pickup. It's probably better than the original Wind, to be honest, because well, actually, because Knight can be used for defense, so that's nice for like the like twisting. You like twist on the edges, but it's weird. Like how night works. Hello? I cannot read your name. Um, okay, cool. Bye. Okay. So any questions, any battle requests, anything else? And if you have been watching my channel for a while, how do you like the new box thing? It's not really anything different, it's just more, yeah, I will. See you at the next tournament, which is in 2 weeks. So let's see if we can battle again, or maybe if we get matched up that way. Yeah, but this box is definitely more sturdy because I have it like thinner. I have it with higher walls and a smaller area, so it's able to like hold more stuff and still be able to use for like battles and stuff. Prominence Excalibur. Oh, that's funny. Okay. I don't have operate, so I unfortunately can't do that one. Where did I put the thing here? Where did I put Perseus? Yeah. Also, random question: do any of you like pretend like kind of pretend battle with your bays? Like, as in, this is kind of like nerdy to do besides just battling, but essentially how do I twist this? I can't really uh I can't really twist it properly or else, yeah. But like, it's hard to explain. It's like you have your bays and then you like pretend like they're in the anime and you just like battle with them like physically, like just pretending. It's very weird to do, but I enjoy doing that sometimes. So any questions, any combinations, anything, or just kind of doing whatever? Yep. And then we'll just put this back here. Here. It's tight. Here. Do you have bullet? I do not. I have Quattro if you're looking for like a off balance weird driver thing. I have Quattro, but that wouldn't really work well. It would actually, I mean, it would, but it wouldn't really like really do that. Okay. LAD battle. That's fun. Okay. I will go ahead and do that. Let me I don't have Lucifer and I don't have Diabolos, but I have Spriggan, so it's pretty much the same thing. And yeah. So let me do the combo battle real quick with World, and then I'll go ahead and do the next one. Okay. And what was that 1S? Overbearing drift. I assume that's 1S for the single chassis. Naturally, it would be overbearing drift. So in this matchup, World. So let me just put the combos here. So World, Spriggan, left spin, overbearing drift, 1S, and it's gonna go up against Dynamites. Let's go Perseus, or because in this case Perseus would work well instead of Lucifer, because I don't have Lucifer, unfortunately. So let us put the 9 armor on it. Or did you say 9 armor? Or I assume, yeah, because you didn't really specify the armor, but we could go with 9. That would work the best. So Dynamite, Perseus, Illegal Bearing Dash. I would switch the 2 discs generally, like if you're talking about these in like the same sense, because bearing drift is lower. You want a taller, like skinnier disc, like illegal, and bearing is gonna need more like LAD to be able to twist than actual bearing is. So You'd ideally want to switch these two discs, but it wouldn't really make much of a difference. Now, if I go ahead and do the battle, if I do that quickly and I do this quickly, let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. Yeah, so that is World Spriggan, but theoretically that would be a draw. Depends on your rule set. If you're playing like just generally, World would win. WBBA, World would win, or WBO, they would be a draw. Because theoretically the disc touched the floor before the state or before the driver stopped spinning. So there's that. Let's see this. Okay, so any other, oh right, the Prominence Excalibur one. I'll do that quickly. Xanthus. Where did I put the Xanthus? Oh, here. Oh, that actually matches really well. That matches perfectly. Yeah, that is, yeah. Generally, World on Drift, no matter what version, like Metal Bearing Drift, Metal Drift, and Drift, World will generally beat Dynamite, especially because World is already permafused in high mode. Unless, of course, you go in high mode with Dynamite, but on Bearing, that wouldn't work really well. High Extend Plus, you might be able to pull it off, but you also won't have as much LAD in general with High Extend Plus. Now, this wonky combo. See, the thing is, it's very balanced because of Quattro, but I have it in stamina mode. So let's go ahead and put it with Quattro like normally, and we'll put a bay up against it to have it like hit the clicks. But it's still like kind of balanced more normally than it would be. Yeah, I don't know, man. This is the thing is Excalibur and Prominence are very like hard bay to burst, so it's not going to get as many clicks, and it's not going to activate the gimmick as much as you want it to. I'll try again with Brave. It's still like off balance, but not like incredibly. So switch this up. Is that what? Yeah, I don't really know how to. Because as far as like live streams go, this is like pretty much the best angle I can do with like the box and stuff. Because either you see the top end as this background, or you see the bottom end as this computer laptop keyboard thing. Because my box is kind of in the way. Okay. Oh, that time it actually, I think it might have activated there, the sword. Cool. So any other things you guys want me to do, or just kind of not really doing much? Let's put this here. This back here. Also, should I do a face reveal right now since I'm at like 1,000 subscribers already, or should I wait till later? I feel like I should wait till later, but to be honest, getting to like 2,000 is gonna take a really long time. Like, really long time. Because when you look at it the way it is, it took me 3.5 years to get to 1,000 subscribers, technically. Because I started in 2020, but then I stopped for a year, partly because of burnout, partly because of just general stuff, and partly because going into high school now, I'm kind of getting things more back onto track, but still, um, a lot of the stuff uploaded was pre-recorded, so I won't have as much time as I did. But still, like it essentially, because I had like what, like 200 subscribers, and then just 4 months ago I started uploading again, and I got to 1,107 as of right now. So it took a pretty long time. It took like a maybe four. If it took 4 months to get to 800 subscribers, that means it would take 1 month to get to 200, and it would take 5 months to get to 1,000. So it would essentially, if I uploaded like 3 times a week or 4 times a week, it would take still 5 months. Or you could round up and say to the end of the year to get to 2,000. Always promoted in the LB Discord server. I did not know he had a Discord server, and I watch Left Burst quite frequently. How do I get onto this Discord server? Because I had no idea he had a Discord server. Or is it on his like description? Because I had no idea he had a Discord server. I know about Illinook's Discord server. I just joined that like recently, but I had no idea Left Burst had one. I know he like has people he contacts for like the live stream, like moderators or something. But okay, description, it makes sense. Okay, so yeah, any other stuff to do, or just kind of not really doing anything right now? Because we're putting this back. Yeah. Also, I'm curious because I'm not really like a competitive based channel, but oh yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, yeah, because he's in college, so he has like uh yeah, he's like busy and everything, so it makes sense. He wouldn't really be too much active on it. But as I was saying, I'm not really a like competitive channel. I would say I'm not like competitive based. I do a lot more like casual stuff than I do competitive, but I do a little bit of competitive, and I generally like off camera when I'm not like most of the time basically. Like when I record videos, it's fun to use stock combos, but outside of that, I'm like more just competitive in general, just like testing combos and going to actual tournaments. So I'm curious, how many of you watching? Well, there's two people watching, but how many of you two are like into the tournament scene? Like, do you go to tournaments or do you test competitive stuff, or just kind of play casually? Both is fine. I'm just curious because competitive is definitely less common, partly because it's a lot easier to play casually because of parts and everything. Yeah, casually, that's cool. Yeah. I definitely would recommend getting into competitive though, because it's a very like cool experience just getting to use your parts that you have so much fun with to like actually make combos you like. And then also like going up against other players is just very, very fun. Because me personally, yeah, that's definitely one. Yeah, that's very fun to do. But me personally, I don't have anyone else to do Beyblade with, as I'm sure a lot of people don't. So going to tournaments is just very nice, and it's the idea of going it too. It's like the idea of what was I gonna say? It's the idea of like I lost my words there. It's the idea of going to. It's the idea of like thinking about going to a tournament and like prepping for it that makes it so fun. Almost lost my words there. But yeah, casually is also a different way to play. Yeah, it's not. I mean, it's not. it's like it depends on your area because you could become an organizer or you could you could host your own tournaments because fortunately for me, I live in California, so there's a lot of like active organizers and a lot of skilled bladers here. So I'm definitely lucky to live in a community like that. But for that like areas that aren't, there definitely have been like some organizers and stuff. But if you don't want to, that's okay too. Just saying it's very, very fun to try out and everything. But as far as the burst is concerned, it is pretty late to be fair. Because once you get onto a series that has already been on for such a long time, it makes it that much harder to actually be able to like get back into it. Yeah, there's not too many organizers in Indiana, I believe. There is one, I think. If you check on the rankings, then I think there's one in Indiana, but it depends also the city. Mm. Tournaments right now are more. There's not really. Oh, there is actually a couple in Indiana. There's South Bend, Indiana, 3 times, hosted by Blade Kid, Free Pasta, and JA Industries. So that's one place. And there's California, Florida, Carolina, and Columbia. There's a new organizer, I believe. Maryland is also pretty common. London is there's one tomorrow.
Yeah. Sometimes a really big fight out there. But there's like a really young.
Yep. I don't know about that because I feel like Beyblade X is kind of the entirely different. It's a different thing than like the bearing drift. What they initially started in sparking, where because before that it was all about like oh try to make the gimmicks realistic in the anime and then have them just release in real life where people buy it and the anime advertises it, everyone has fun, blah blah blah. But then people started getting more into competitive and people were buying older releases like Judgment Joker just to get the Judgment layer base, or people were buying Excalibur, the single layer version, over and over again just to get the extreme drivers. So Takara Tomy noticed this, and they started releasing competitive drivers in very hard to get sets, right? Like they released Zone Dash plus Z and Exceed Dash plus X in the Limit Break set, which was more than $100. Plus, it had launchers and the metal chip core, so that's definitely one different way. Plus, they had Bearing Dash released in an Overdrive set. They had Bearing released on the Union Diabolos Double O Expand Bearing set release thing, and they had Drift released on Lucifer the End, which was relatively expensive. Plus Mobius on a variant Lucifer, which was like $30. And beyond that, they started with like Never in a random booster. And then you'll notice each individual release didn't really have much going for it. Like Guilty, sure, it's a long list. Everything has that. And Fafnir, yeah, sure. All the really good bays, like the very popular ones, they would do individually, but all the competitive parts they had in random boosters or sets because they wanted to make a profit. So they started leaning more into drivers like Hybrid, Ignition, Drift, Mobius, Zone Dash plus Z, Exceed Dash plus Z, Never, and High Extend plus Dash, Bearing Dash, Wave Dash, Bearing Drift. Like, it's crazy. So Beyblade X is trying to get away from that because they realize their mistake. But I think they're going too far away from it, is my concern. Yeah, they're definitely moving the meta for sure. Yeah, that's for sure. I'm curious. I'm not sure doing an anime again was the best move for them though, because the thing is, the anime is a good way to advertise, and it's a great way for like younger kids to do it. But the problem is how Beyblade is conceived, right? Like so many bladers, like obviously as you get older, you don't really bring your bays to school. You don't talk about it as much, so you don't get made fun of. But a lot of like younger kids who like talk about Beyblade with their friends and are excited about it get made fun of because of how Beyblade is advertised. Hasbro in the United States is Beyblade's main distributor. Takeratomi is based in Japan and simply just ships their products. It's like how like America buys imports from China. They're shipped here. They're not physically made here. So it's a lot easier to get Hasbro products than it is to Karatomi, and because of that, Hasbro is, like, messing it up right now. They're barely putting any effort into their releases, and they've just been pricing it way too high, and it's just like, it's crazy. Hasbro is messing it up, and they're the main distributor here. So, in everywhere besides Japan, where Beyblade is growing, it's growing in the wrong way because it's viewed as this little kid's toy thing when people see Hasbro stuff. And it's not even like people advertise it as like a Pokemon thing, right? Like the or not that. What's it called? Bakugan? There was like a thing called Bakugan where there was a TV show and it was like Beyblade. It was over exaggerated, realistic or non-realistic, and they had these little toys and little products they used to sell. So it's viewed as a little kids thing when in reality it's a lot more complicated than that. But because in the United States, Hasbro is the one marketing it, not Takara Tomy, it's not viewed as like actually like going to tournaments, using it, trying out different stuff. It's viewed as this little string thing that like babies play with. So it's definitely an entirely different thing than it used to, or at least they're pushing for now because with Beyblade X, they're metal. They're entirely like metal. So it's pushing for an adult audience, which is generally going to be better for Beyblade, except because of that, they probably shouldn't be doing an anime. That's not really a good thing to like advertise. Although if they do an anime and are targeting an adult audience, that could have them both ways in. Plus, because it's metal and less skill based, it's also easier for younger people to play with. And I believe, and it releases in just 13 days. The TT is going to change entirely, or just Hasbro. Yeah, I don't know if Hasbro is going to use like the Gen X thing. That might not be. They would probably do that as they did with Pro Series. They probably like because Takara Tomy originally had it, and Hasbro started re-releasing their stuff. I don't know if they have like a deal or anything, but I'm guessing it's just because they want to grow it. It's either Takara Tomy has to ship all of their products, and that's mostly just from Japan, very few in the United States, or they make a brand deal with Hasbro, and Hasbro starts re-releasing their products, just obviously Hasbro version with plastic and not as much detail into the actual thing or into the United States, and then that doesn't really help it much. So that's Beyblade X. They're also pricing it a lot more expensively is the thing too, or at least from what I've seen, Beyblade X is more expensive, but they're also releasing higher. It's very complicated to talk about. Is the thing. It's very very complicated to talk about. Yep. So any other questions or any other just stuff? We will just go from there. Oh yeah, moving forward. Also, this is probably a dumb question, but do any of you watch One Piece? Because I mean, I know it's the most like popular anime in the world, but I just started watching it, so that's cool. I've been watching more anime recently, and this is like not Beyblade, but anime is like yeah, yeah, it's like 1,000 episodes, so it takes a very very long time to watch. So it gets yeah, I don't know, it's definitely different, but it's weird too because it seems like a lot of the Beyblade community generally like does watch anime because, or at least that's what it seems like, especially like on the WBO community where like a lot of the bladers like in real life they're like, oh, is that a JoJo reference? Or like they're like talking about like just random stuff, or even like Left Verse for an example, like he talks about like anime he's watching like on his videos and stuff, or like even like some like the One Punch Man combo Zenki had, or like the Ken channel like Demon Slayer, um like color combo things, or the Super Beyblade family, they like do all these like character based combos. So it's interesting. I think it's also because Beyblade is an anime because it's made in Japan, obviously. But another thing, Beyblade, an anime, is re-released by Hasbro in dub. Although that happens with every anime, but that's just like one way that it still helps Takara Tomy more than it hurts it, because then at least they can reach a much bigger audience besides Japan. But at the same time, Hasbro is ruining its image. So they're making a profit, but they're not like, if they're trying to get like a long-term audience, it isn't really working as well. Yep. It's weird how we've only been going for 37 minutes. It feels a lot longer than that. The anime peaked. Yeah, it definitely did. I think, to be honest, personally, I think the anime was still very, very, very good in Turbo. Like it was pretty good for Turbo. What kind of battles are we doing? Just we're not even doing battles right now. We're just talking about like Beyblade X and stuff. But I can do battles if you want. But yeah, definitely peaked at God. But I think Turbo was still very, very good with Iger and everything. Because hold up, am I still going? Hold up, something froze. Am I? Someone type in the chat that I'm still streaming. Type something new, like a new message or anything, because I'm frozen right now. I can't see if we're going or not. We still okay? We're still good. Or is that if I move oh yeah, we're still good. Okay, cool, cool. Yeah, so Turbo was very good in my opinion. Still, and the like originally everyone hated Iger because it's just the concept of having the character you love so much getting replaced. But Iger is still like very good. Iger is honestly just as I really don't want to say this, but he's almost just as good as Bolt. Iger and like Turbo in general, that was a great series too. It's just GT is when it started going downhill a lot. Like a lot. It didn't like not just a little bit, it went downhill a lot. God was definitely peak though. It's interesting though because as I mentioned the anime before, if any of you watch Naruto, which is like the second or third besides Dragon Ball and One Piece, like largest anime in the entire world, like they like 12 billion like sales as far as like manga is concerned. So it's I mean, everyone watches Naruto, but in case in if you do, then the story of Beyblade is very very similar. Like first of all, Volt. He's this chipper hype he's this chipper, spiky haired boy who's very optimistic and is very weak at the beginning, but wants to get stronger. That's the whole basis of pretty much any protagonist nowadays. But back then it was different because it was actually good. It's not just like a copy of everything else. But like, and then there was Shu, like the Sasuke of Naruto, right? Like he's good at everything. He's been at it for longer, but he's had this trauma in the past where he's got like he either has a scar like Shu does, or like Sasuke has. I don't want to spoil it if any of you haven't watched it, but Sasuke has some like trouble with his family, and Shu has obviously the scar from Louis, and then Louis is kind of like I don't really know who to compare Louis to, but it's the essentialness of Naruto and Sasuke. Sasuke is originally much stronger. Naruto tries to befriend Sasuke. They closely become friends. In that case, it's with Sakura and the Konoha 11 or 12, not counting Sai, who is in Shippuden. He was a pretty good character, I guess. But then Beyblade, like they get stronger with like the Bigum Academy Bay Club, the people around them. Volt eventually surpasses Shu or comes very close to it, and because of that, Shu becomes jealous because that's the end of season one. Like Volt essentially surpasses Shu. He becomes better than him, and Shu is very angry, so he goes out to seek more power and gets turned evil because of it. And in the end, Volt is the one to come to save him from the darkness of turning himself into that. And along the way, Shu breaks a bunch of bays. Sasuke also turns evil, and from Orochimaru, who I'm not going to spoil how that happens in case you haven't watched it, but he's essentially the Louis of this because he's a very powerful character, very influential, at least in the beginning. Later on, he's not as important as Louis was, gets beaten up pretty easily, and in the end, they become friends again and they take on this whole thing. And then it's like again like Boruto. They get disgraced and they're like older, a lot older, but they get beaten up a lot more easily. So it's a very similar story to Naruto. Yep. I don't Raku, I don't know if I don't because a lot of people seem to think this, but the anime very clearly states that Volt was into Beyblade after Shu. See, Shu had his bay, Storm's Prison, in a park, right? He was training for maybe a couple months, and Vault calls him on the phone and says, I finally got my bay. Do you want to battle? And they go to the stand where they've always been battling. Iker goes back to Interbo. Shu had his bay, Storm Spriggan, and Vault called him on the phone saying he just got his bay. Vault started blading after Shu. Wait, no, wait, hold up. Hold up. No, you're right. Because I remember also in the scene, Volt was like, oh, I started blading before you. And she was like, it doesn't matter about who's been going first. But that's weird. Hold up. Uh, it's weird how we got nothing about Snake Pit. Yeah, it would have definitely been very cool if Snake Pit was reintroduced. But has, like, I'm sure all of you watched the anime, Beyblade Burst. Well, who started blading first, Volt or Shu? Because I remember that Volt called Shu on the phone saying he just got his bag when Shu already had his bag. But in another scene, Volt said he was blading first. So who? So can one of you in the chat explain it? Who started blading first and how did that happen? Because I don't. They never had like an original like. Because, like, for an example, like Boa, he had like a Storm Spring and Recolor, and then he got his Bahamut after that. So, did Voltu shoot? Because, I mean, I watched the Beyblade Burst anime like literally 7 times, maybe. I watched the anime like over and over. I just watched the Beyblade Burst anime. Like I rewatched it just the beginning of this year again. So I'm not like I remember a lot of what happened, but I'm not sure if like who's circulating first. Oh yeah, I don't. The manga is definitely okay. That makes sense because sometimes the anime is like it mixes things up. Okay, yeah. So Vault did start bleeding first. Okay, that makes sense. That's cool. Okay, well, plot hole. Yeah, there's definitely plot holes are the more complicated a story is, and the better the story is, the more plot holes are bound to happen because you just can't fit everything together. Like if any of you watch Naruto, he failed his getting exams 3 times, and yet he's still the same grade as the Genin who were in his level. So imagine you were in you were in a kindergarten with a classmate named Sarah and a classmate named Ryan. Sarah and Ryan in kindergarten passed their classes, but you, let's say your name is Bob, fail it 3 times. So by the time you passed kindergarten, Ryan and Sarah would be in third or fourth grade, depending on their age. But in Naruto's still the same grade level as them. So that's a plot hole, a very, very, very big plot hole, but it's overlooked because it's the very first episode. So that's like that's an example. Yeah, yeah, he's the Hokage, but yeah, he's a Genin, and he jumped straight to Hokage. So weird. And I didn't watch all of the filler, but I'm pretty sure he had to retake the tuning exams, right? And then he lost to Konohamaru because he missed his Rasengan or something. Is that what happened? Because I didn't watch all the filler, but I remember he had to retake the tuning exams, and Konohamaru beat him because he like made a dumb mistake or something. But yeah, yeah, he's Hokage, and he never made it past tuning. That's crazy. Remember, remember when Sasuke said like he wanted to be Hokage at the end of the Madara battle? That was such a big plot hole. Sasuke is a great character, and he's got good developing because he's any character that turns evil or turns good, like from the other like if a good character turns evil, that's good character development because they're a broken hero, right? Like Obito Uchiha is the best example of it. He was just like Naruto, but he just didn't have as much positivity as Naruto, so he got broken. The world was like hell to him, and he turned evil. But he turned good in the end. But you could basically go ahead and say he he was good and he turned evil. That's a good character. But then you have another character who was maybe he was bad originally and he turned good. Like if any of you watch How to Train Your Dragon, which is it's decently old. It's like 12, 13 years ago made. But they had a show, Dragon's Race to the Edge, that I enjoyed watching, and there's a character named Dagger the Deranged, where he was very evil in the beginning, but he turns good. Or Vigo Grimborn, one of the best characters like in any cartoon you'll ever see, Vigo Grimborn. Very like He's very like chill, laid back, and evil at the same time. But he was evil and he turned good. So any character that turns good to evil or evil to good, like Anakin. Anakin was good, then he turned evil. Star Wars. Or yeah, so any character like that is great character development. But Sasuke, he turned good to evil and evil to good. So he could have the potential for the best character development in anything. But unfortunately, they didn't really think properly about how to make him turn good again because they kind of rushed the whole thing. If they didn't have as much filler, they could have gave Sasuke a lot more time to get used to Naruto again because he shows up like the last time Sasuke and Naruto meet before the Battle of the Namatoro arc is when they're at the Kage Summit. And Sasuke becomes like his eyes are gray and he's like evil and he's possessed and he just killed um Danzo. So like it's and then he meets him again in the battlefield and he's just like, "Hey Naruto, I remember you." Or some a little bit, and let's battle. Let's be friends again. And that's not good character development. That's horrible character development. But fortunately, he's still a pretty well developed character. So like Shu, he turned evil and he turned good again. But the thing is, he got great character development, and that's probably why he's so popular. But after he turned good, he didn't really do much. So I mean, that's not, I don't know. It's weird. One, who is the one person watching? I'm just curious. Cool. Yep. So that's cool. Yeah. So that's weird. Raku, who's your? I assume you watch Naruto because you said Naruto's a Hokage. So if you do, then who's your favorite side character? Just curious. Uh, yeah. Who's your favorite side character? Mine is Itachi. Oh yeah, Itachi. Yeah, Itachi's great. I actually have like a really good drawing of him that I actually like drew somewhere here in my desk somewhere. If I find it, I could like show it on a community post or something. But Itachi's great. I feel like there's a lot of other characters too that are good, like Shikamaru, Gaara, and Rock Lee. Those three are very, very good characters, in my opinion. Yeah. It's crazy how Gara went from being this possessed demon to the Kage. Gara is kind of like Naruto, but he had a much rougher childhood and he was alone and he still made it to Kage. Gara is essentially a better Naruto, if I dare to say that. He's like not a better Naruto, but he's like he's a he's a more developed Naruto, at least before Shippuden, or at least in the beginning of Shippuden. Yeah, he has some amazing side characters. The only thing is they focus on certain side characters and they don't focus on other side characters. Like Choji, like there's 12 Konoha people, right? Besides the main three, and I'm not even gonna talk about Sakura. I'm not even gonna mention her name. Ino, Tenten, Choji, uh, who else? Those three, for an example, have horrible character development. Not that they're bad characters, they just barely get any screen time. And when they do, Ino's the typical like girl who's like pretty and she sells a flower shop and she always like thinks about Sasuke. And then Tenten doesn't even have any screen time. And then Choji is just a typical like boy who's fat and likes to eat. They're very stereotypical. But then there's like Shikamaru. He's the genius, the typical kind of genius, but he's like He is so much more than that. And Shikamaru is extremely relatable to so many people. And that's something that makes him good. And Rock Lee too. Rock Lee is this boy who was born with nothing and he worked hard and now he uses karate to go up against these gods. And he's still like probably in the time of the end of Shippuden after Kakashi gets his DMS taken away, he's probably the fourth strongest ninja ever. Besides the Otsutsuki clan, obviously. So yeah, they're great side characters, but there's also bad ones. Not that they're bad characters, but characters they have never really focused on. Is Lucifer? Oh, hi! I did not see that there. Hi, Pro F1 driver. Lucifer, the end is it's good. I would buy it personally. Lucifer 2 is a great chip, and it can be used on Hollow or Tempest. To balance tune it or to make it more aggressive. And you can use the drift driver for basically anything. Opposite spin, defense, same spin. The only thing is it's not controllable if you use it for attack or same spin. But you can control it with a little thing I like to call bearing drift. I don't like it, but it exists. So you got to use it. Nope, that's not what I want. Nope. It's so weird how it does that. So weird. Hello, you're a Bladerson. Yep. So that's all the stuff I wanted to say about Naruto. I spent like 20 minutes talking about that. So any questions or any stuff to talk about, Beyblade related or not? Any questions, anything like that, and I'll just answer them because I have really nothing better to do right now. Let's see. Oh. It's crazy. We're at like 290,000 views on the channel. It's crazy because just 4 months ago, we had 20,000 views. So what is it like 270,000 views in 4 months? That's crazy. Cool. Yep. So any questions, any comments or anything to talk about or no? Kind of just doing nothing here. It's weird. Nope. For any of you who have Bushin Ashindra, this bay here, Bushin Ashindra. What was I gonna say? How is the keep driver? Because I have it, but it's not very good defensively. So it's not like, how do I explain this? The keep, it's a lot more aggressive than it is passive, and it like doesn't really take hits well. So the keep driver is supposedly good, but not really. In fact, I think we may end it off here, maybe. if yeah, the thing is, the rubber is hard, which is supposed to be good for defense, but it depends because soft rubber is like extreme. It has a good grip on the stadium. It's great for attack. It's great for spin steel if you use it on Fafnir for a layer or something, but it wears down so easily. And then you have hard rubber, which is not the best for spin steel and not the best for recoil on like Judgment or Valkyrie. Like if you wanted to use rubber on Valkyrie, but it is right. It is um very good defensively, and it still doesn't wear down as much. It just soft rubber is a lot more grippy. Hard rubber is just doesn't wear down as much, but it doesn't have anything else going for it. Bearing drift is great. It's like probably the best driver there is. It's too overpowered. It's like you've got the first of all, I mean, obviously you can do anything with it besides attack. And even against attack, it does extremely well because first of all, you have a free spin driver, which is already a great thing because you have stamina and you have grip. So that helps with KO defense and stability, where you don't go crazy like normally drift does. On top of that, you have a wide base, which means if you get knocked onto your side or you get knocked towards the edge, the wide base will help you stay inside the stadium or recover from any hit. So great defensively, and if you have a wide base, you'll never stop spinning. Like you'll never stop spinning. Like if you're in opposite spin, you just continuously pick up the spin of other bays because you have a wide plate that you can tilt on. On top of that, you have a sharp washer, which means you can spin in the center undisturbed. And the only time you'll ever tilt is right now if I purposely tilt it with my hand. So it's insane. It's like the best driver there is. You just need to use it on a very good setup and you'll basically be set. Very safe to use. Personally, I think it should be banned from generally tournaments in general because it's that good. But yeah, if you're having any questions about that, that's bearing drift. It's basically the best bearing drift, extreme dash, and any other driver. And that's pretty much the only deck drivers you'll need for like a tournament. Basic difference. So drift is flatter, which means drift is going to be better in opposite spin, but you'll just draw or tie anyway. But I would say drift is better in opposite spin, and it's better for defense. But that's it. You barely like drift is so hard to control in same spin that it's basically better for nothing. But if you know like for example, you could use drift on World Spriggan and like on a DB disk and put it in high mode because World Spriggan on like spread dash drift or Giga drift is already in high mode because World Spriggan doesn't have a low mode and the disks push it higher. So it's able to sit on top of opponents and free spin. And it never stops spinning if it's an opposite spin. Sort of. It's To put it simply, you want to use bearing drift for everything, but use drift if you know you're going to be in opposite spin. So bearing drift for same spin, drift for opposite spin, essentially. But bearing drift is also very good opposite spin. Do you have zeal? I do not have zeal, unfortunately. I was hoping to get zeal, but I've heard that just like extreme, the rubber is very very soft, and that initially helps, but it just I've heard that zeal from like some bladers and stuff that it tilts way too much, and it scrapes and because the rubber shaft is very tiny and it's stick-like. But then again, you also have the free spin thing, which just tilts and it goes crazy when it's worn down. And so, if there is no really other questions, I think we might just end the stream here. Let's see. We're at yeah. So I think we're gonna end it now. So any last minute questions or are we good? What is the best driver for attack? So there's three types of attack essentially. There's anti-attack, which is the type of attack that is used to defend or counterattack other attack types. The best driver for this is Evolution Dash. It's fast, it's aggressive, it's a dash driver, and it gets faster with every single battle. Plus, you ride the ridge and you can smash attack. You've got better stamina in both same spin and opposite spin than any other attack driver that will be used for KO attack, and even against something like Destroy or Ultimate Reboot, you can easily knock it out in same spin. The best attack driver for general attack is Extreme or Quick Dash. Personally, I use Quick Dash. This is for knocking out any opponent on a good setup. And then there's one more driver, Destroy. This driver is best on something like Imperial or Twin Nemesis in older formats. It's good for same spin, opposite spin, and KOing. So it's like a balance type, but it's for attack. So use this to knock opponents out. Use this to knock opponents out and beat other attack drivers. Use this for basically stamina and attack at the same time. That's it. Best attack drivers to ever exist. No doubt. Yeah, Destroy is great. Just don't use Destroy on DB stuff. Don't use Destroy on DB stuff because it's too heavy. Yep. And that will be it for the stream. I'm just gonna put a sticker here, lift it up, and if there are any more Exceed difficulty, I do not have Exceed or Zone, and I do not have plus Z or plus X. If I had the opportunity, I would get Exceed dash plus Z, but I would Destroy on Longinus. Destroy on Guilty Longinus, it's okay, but it's Destroy, you just shouldn't use it on anything other than Twin Nemesis or Imperial for like older formats. So yeah. That will be it. And goodbye. See you all later. Bye.